Building community is one of the things that trade associations and other organizations really have to pay attention to in the current world that we live in. There seems to be a big movement of people thinking, well, I don't need to belong to an association. I don't need to support a community organization or a civic organization because I'm connected online. I have so many likes, links, shares, and follows. I have my community. But I still believe that relationships are the key to success in business. And so I think that trade associations play a really important role, maybe a more important role now than they ever have in the past. And so for those of us who work in and around and for people who volunteer to be part of boards and other committees for these types of associations, we really need to start thinking about how can we create the community that leads to more collaboration and better conversations. Because when we have community, collaboration, and conversations, I believe we can solve all the problems facing any industry. So I have 5 tips for you if you're really looking to to raise up, if you will, that level, that feeling of community within your organization. So number 1, you have to have a plan and your board has to live that plan. If the leadership of your organization isn't out being the evangelists, talking about why the organization is so good and what the plan for the future is and why they need people to come together and be those grassroots participants that are going to allow the association to thrive, then it's just going to go down the road as it always has. And maybe it'll survive, maybe it won't. We have to have a plan and we have to have those leaders who want to draw the rest of the community to be part of what we're working on. Number 2, we have to work with what we have. The pandemic wasn't kind to a lot of membership organizations. Membership numbers have gone down. People attending events have sort of gotten out of the routine. And in fact, most organizations are still struggling to get people back to attend their live in-person events. And so you might be struggling financially. You might have less members. You might have less volunteers. But you know what? That's just where you are. That's the starting place for today. You have to just realize that we can't pretend we're something that we're not. We have to look at who we are, where we are, and what we have, and move forward from there. Just be honest. If you have to downsize the organization, if you have to downsize the staff, if you need more people to roll up their sleeves and get things happening, well, that's what it is. Don't pretend, don't lie, don't kick the can down the road for the next board. Keep honest about where you are and what you're trying to do, and then work forward with what you have. Number 3 is what these types of organizations are all about. We need to bring people together. As I said before, community, collaboration, and conversation is how we're going to solve all the problems inside the organization and inside the entire industry that you serve. And so you want to make sure that you're a conduit for bringing people together and letting them know who else supports your cause. Create that sense of community and your organization will thrive. Number 4 is we have to ask for feedback. So often I see leaders of organizations who just assume that what they say goes and that's what everybody wants. But the reality is if you're going to be a grassroots organization, your ideas, your thoughts, the type of events you're going to do, what the future looks like has to come from the grassroots. You can have the best board president or the best CEO for the association, but if they're just spinning ideas themselves without input and conversation from the whole community, I don't think that you're going to be able to survive. We have to get to that level where the people in the organization feel good about giving you feedback and ideas, and they're willing not just to throw out those ideas, but to help bring them to reality. And then number 5, you have to work at growing the brand. You know, Coca-Cola is a brand, Nike's a brand, Southwest Airlines is a brand. When we think of those products and services, we go to the brands that we admire. And I think that's something that trade associations have to realize is that we have to up the game of the brand. And we do that through every single piece of communication that we have. So what's going on in your organization? I would love to have more conversations with other people who are working in nonprofits, who are looking at ways to bring that community together and help it thrive. Reach out to me, leave comments down below, subscribe to my channel and help me, come up with ideas on how to talk about how do we build community? How do we get people to want to network again in 2022? Because here's my little secret. The world has changed. The tools we use to communicate have changed. but people at their core haven't really changed. And therefore, we are still going to do business with people we know, we like, we trust, and we respect. We have to get back to that level of realizing that likes, links, shares, and follows are great, but they aren't going to be what sets us apart. You need to create uncommon connections with people who are going to help you thrive and help your organization grow. And when that happens, that's where all the magic happens. And the people who figure that out and harness it 3 years, 5 years, 10 years from now are going to be the most successful. So let's get back to the people side of business.